Welcome to my Commodore 64 Games Memories. This is where I look at old games and some of the technical details behind them. Let's get into it. Today we have Scarabaeus, published in 1985 by Ariolasoft. The developer was Andromeda Software. Now this is a really unusual game. I didn't have this back in the day. Some might say that this is the first 3D game ever, but it's not quite. I seem to remember having a game a little bit like this on the VIC-20, but with less advanced graphics, of course. But it still had kind of like a 3D monster maze kind of view. Bitte warten. That means please wait. So I seem to have the German version. Just getting my C64 debug GUI all nicely set up here so we can see what's going on while it's loading. So this game does take a while to load on disk, but it does have this rather nice little intro sequence, which, does indicate that there is quite a lot of love put into this game. There's this little spaceship flying down with an animated rocket engine thrust. Person comes out in his spaceship, or their spaceship, and their pet animal, maybe a dog, comes running off and the little sprite just disappears there. The titles, okay, so there's sprites used with the name, and then we have the characters being updated with like the shadow for the name, and the sprites have disappeared, and that's probably because the load is going on now. Displaying too many sprites could disrupt the disk load, but it's probably more likely that the sprite memory is just being loaded over. So the developer just wanted to have the text screen being displayed while it is loading the next part. This game was suggested to me to look at by one of my followers on Twitter, so thank you for that. Monsters go boom. So yes, if you like these kind of technical deep dive videos, then please do consider liking or subscribing to this channel, or sending me a super thanks. They are all always very much appreciated. So we're going to have a quick little look at this in C64 debug GUI so we can get a good feel for what the graphics being used in the first level are, where the sprites are, for example, whether or not it's a bitmap screen or a text screen, we'll soon see. I watched a couple of long play YouTube videos for this game, and I am not going to attempt to play through it because it looks far too difficult. The first level is practically the same as the other levels, so I think we just need to look at the first level. There is kind of like a little intermission screen where you have to, it looks like you have to crank yourself up or down a lift shaft to access different levels in the game, basically in this tomb or pyramid or whatever it is. We have this little credits screen that comes up. On one of the long play YouTube videos that I saw, actually this credits screen seems to be corrupted. I don't know what that's about. However, they were using a hacked and cracked version with the instructions on the disc. When I looked on this original disc, I couldn't see any instructions. I think this is the German release. So here we go. We've got this nice little 3D view on the left hand side. It's got the score panel on the right. We can immediately see that we have a sprite for the animated character, the player character, and also a sprite being used for the bottom right hand corner, kind of like the wibbly line heart trace type thing that's coming out on that piece of paper. Now we can see that we've, oh look, there's some nice expanded sprites, a stack of 3 sprites there vertically for the ghost monster, whatever it is that's flying around the level. If I push down on the joystick, then it displays that map on the screen, which is useful, so we can see where we're going and so we can chase the ghost. But we have this rather lovely rotating 3D view, and when we walk forward we have this rather lovely going down an axis aligned corridor. So this music does tend to repeat quite often, and it is definitely kind of repetitive, and you can turn on the sound effects though, which is a good thing, because eventually you get sick of this piece of music when playing the game. I certainly did. I noticed that the text multicolors there at D200, D022 and D023 were swapping. And that meant that the characters multicolors for the score panel were also swapping. Which is weird. So the characters are dynamic. Look, in the top left hand corner we can see that the character sets are a bit dynamic when rotating the view around. Okay. It seems that, oh, the multicolors are changing, but the actual definitions for the characters don't look like they're changing. Oh look, the character set is different for when you're walking forwards. Okay, and then rotating around, the character set changes again, but the character set is static when walking forwards down the corridor. It's just that when you rotate, okay, so when rotating the character set, okay, so there are two character sets, one for when rotating around, as it looks like, and okay, so there's a third character set for the map view. But yes, there's two character sets at least for when rotating around, and then when walking forward down the corridor. This is the intermission screen that I was talking about just now. You have to move the joystick around all 8 positions around either anti-clockwise or clockwise without skipping any of the 8 directions. So I'm moving the cursor around there, the mouse cursor, to indicate the direction on the joystick that I was holding. But rotating around like this seems to move the player character up or down. This is a representation of a lift shaft, and you're pulling on kind of like a gear handle with a ratchet or something like that. There's some cogwheels there. It seems that I've missed a sequence in the joystick movement there, and I fell down the lift shaft, so I have to crank myself back up again. Yes, it's a crank. There we go. The character set is 2000, the screen is 400, multicolor text, standard text screen with 1, 2, 3, 4 sprites over the top of it. The other sprite definitions, look, they're not being used, or they're pointing to 0. Okay, it's just the first 3 sprites and the last sprite. I really don't know what that thing is which wiggles its arms up and down. Is it a dagger? Is it something? I really have no idea whatsoever. Is it a shadow? Is it meant to be a shadow? I don't know. But it just looks like a thing that's waving its arms up and down with a little tail that waggles backwards and forwards. I have no idea what that is. But anyway, we've got quite a few sprite frames for this, hand cranky type sprite frame animation for the person. I think, oh dear, yeah. And there's the "You Are Dead" screen with suitable sound effects. So I didn't get very far in this game. This game, when I was playing it earlier on, and when I was looking at the YouTube videos for the long plays, it's incredibly hard. Very, very involved, very technical game. There's lots of hieroglyphs that you have to look at and remember and collect, and you have to avoid spiders, and it's not entirely obvious where the spiders are and stuff like that. It's crazy. So anyway, let's go into ICU C64 and have a look at the game there to see what we can deduce. Here's that rather lovely intro sequence again. There isn't too much memory being used. Oh look, there's a couple of OKs and error messages and stuff like that. Well, OK messages from the disk drive stored up there. I wonder if that's some of the protection related stuff. Okay. We're not going to look at the disk protection on this. I don't think it had that much disk protection, to be honest. Maybe it was storing the messages from the disk drive to do some kind of protection check. Maybe it was reading different sectors on the drive or something. I'm only guessing. I didn't look at that at all in any kind of detail. So anyway, I quite like this intro sequence. It's quite lovely, I thought. So interesting use of sprites for the text, for the title of the game. I want to have a look at the 3D view rendering in this game. I want to have a look at some other things too to see if we can find anything in memory. I mean, I see this here, sound message. It looks like there's some messages in the top of memory there which don't appear in the game. Okay, so, oh look, okay, so we seem to have a map view at F000. We have another map view here at C800. That's interesting. There doesn't seem to be a corresponding character set to that map view. Okay, so we'll note that down. We'll come back to that. Let's have a look at the other parts of it. There's another map view at 800 in hex. This map view seems to be updating. Look, the 6 there seems to be moving around, and the 1 down at the bottom seems to be my player character. When I rotate around, the map seems to update. Let's see if we can find the character set for it. There we are. So we have the character set at 3000 in hex. We've got the map screen at 800 in hex. There's a skull moving around, and if I pull down on the joystick, then we get the map view on the C64 as well. So the monitor was showing that this is definitely the map view. By the memory addresses were matching at 800 in hex with the screen and 3000 in hex for the character set. So yeah, rotating around, look, I can move around and I can use the debug window in ICU 64 to more easily chase the thing around the maze, which is quite funny. So even though the map is not visible on the C64, because I'm not pushing down on the joystick, I can see it in the debug view, so that makes it a lot easier. Hey, it's like having a dual screen display or something like that, right? Cool. Very useful to know. And there we go. When you collect one of the ghosts or whatever it is, you get a hieroglyphic symbol and it comes up on the hand. And have a look, the hand is there in 400 in hex in the graphics map debug view. So obviously the hand and the map view both use the same character set at 3000 in hex. Look, there seems to be an awful lot of green memory reads in the memory map debug view right down at the bottom of memory. We'll come back to that later on, but these look like the 2 double buffered screens, don't they, for the 3D game view. Let's see if we can find the character set. Well, the character set's not there in that bank. It should have been. Let's go back again. There it is. Right, 4000 and 4800. There are 2 character sets there. Okay, fine, no problem. Yeah, that's what we saw in C64 Debug GUI, right? Is that there are 2 character sets for the 3D view, and the 2 character sets for the 3D view seem to be picked whether or not you were rotating around or moving forward along the axis-aligned tunnel corridor, because there are passages to the left and to the right. Now the way that this map is set up is that every alternate position on the map, there are these always these solid columns there. That means that you don't have to block off the left and right axis aligned, the left and right doorways, because there will always be something there. The actual blocked off walls are just beyond the corner of where you can view. So that makes the 3D view simpler, slightly simpler anyway, to render, because you can always render the same thing. The only thing that you need to do is that you need to block off the end wall for however far forward you can view along the axis aligned for the either north, south or east, west view, right, as you're rotating around. So it's not a full 3D view. It's kind of like, it looks like it's kind of like an optimized animation, if you like. And the only dynamic part of the view in this initial look here is only the far wall and how far into the distance you need to block off your view with. As it rotates around, you can see the wall looks like it's horizontally aligned to the characters as well. So even that, yes, it's not really a proper 3D view, is it? Even when it's rotating around, yeah. The wall at the end is just like a rectangle of characters that is either big or small. Look, you can see that. Okay. Filling this character set, we can see when the character set really is being used. The character set is actually not copying from anywhere in memory and putting it there. Look, if I fill the memory there in the character set with these values there, then, yeah, look, it's actually inverting or swapping around the multicolor values. So okay, so it's not refreshing the character set data from anywhere in memory. It's updating the character sets. It might be swapping around the character sets actually in those two character set banks, or it might just be using the no, it's just using the different character sets. But it is dynamically updating the character set data, but only a little bit at the beginning. Doesn't seem to be that consequential. Most of the character set data seems to be retained, and the multicolors seem to be swapped when it's drawing a 3D view. So I'm just updating the debug notes. This text file will of course be committed to source control like all of the other videos, and you can read these debug notes yourself. I'm just going to fill the first character set entirely with blank. No, not blank. I'm going to fill it with 3,7, which is two different multicolor values. And then yeah, there we go. That first character set is definitely only being used when it is an axis aligned forward facing view. There we go. All of the other in between rotating animation frames use the other character set, the one at 4800. So there we go. Definitely for sure the character set at 4000 is only really being used. Now in the graphics map debug view, I can see that the first, 8, maybe 10, 12 characters in the character set are being updated. The rest of the characters in the character set are not, apart from the multicolor colors are being swapped over. Excuse me. There does seem to be one extra little character there being updated, but yeah, okay. I really don't know why those score panel characters, I don't know why their multicolors are being swapped over. That is crazy. I don't know why it's doing the multicolor swapping at all, to be honest. It's obviously something to do with the 3D view, but generally speaking, there isn't really any need to swap over the two multicolors for the score panel sprites at all. I guess it might have something to do with whichever color is first drawn, it prefers that in the character set and then does the necessary swap of the multicolor. I really don't know why though. So updating the debug notes again, the dynamic character set data isn't copied in from outside. It is just swapped around in terms of multicolors. Going back to this map view, the map screen view rather, in the debug graphics map there at 800 in hex, if I copy the skull and then use the edit functionality to add extra skulls into the game, and then I move my character forward in the map, hey, there we go. It detects collision with the skull character that I put down, and it lets me collect the hieroglyph even when I didn't move into the monster or ghost or whatever it is. Huh, that's funny. Okay, so it's possible to cheat in the game by let's fill the map in front of me with a whole bunch of skulls that you have to collect. There we go, turn left, and then they're not visible in the 3D view itself, but it doesn't matter if my player character moves over the position in the map where there is a skull. Doesn't matter if it's a monster or not. It's there. So There's only one monster active on the map at the time, but the map doesn't seem to care as long, or the game doesn't seem to care as long as my player character on the map moves over a skull character. It just collects it. Now it respawns the monster, and of course now the monster, ghost, or whatever it is, has stopped spawning because I've collected all of the 9 hieroglyphs. Funny. So there we go. Possible to cheat in the game by filling the map. It is a ghost, is it? Or is it a skull? Or whatever it is. I'm pretty sure that the game's instructions would explain whether or not they're a ghost or a skull or something, but okay. And there we go, there's the lift cranking screen. Well, that's interesting. It seems to be characters as well. Okay, so yeah, the characters for the cogwheels, crank, or whatever it is, but the sprite, which uses different colours, like blue colours and stuff, that's the sprite player. Okay, so I cranked myself up to the top, I think it was, or the bottom, or the middle there, or something like that. Pressing fire seems to take me to the next level, level 2. Is it? Or level 3 or the bottom? Okay, so it's the bottom level, I guess. It's more of the same, apart from you can see that the map is much bigger. Now we can see the map in the debug graphics map view. And we can see that the hallway is a lot longer as well. Much, much longer. There it is. There's the big map now visible on the Commodore 64. Yeah, the axis-aligned hallway view is much longer. We can see actually that there's a resolution limit to the corridors off to the left and to the right as we were looking down that very, very long view there. This intermission screen, I have no idea what's going on here. Do I pick it up or do I exit? Is that it? Pick it up. Oh. Poison, I guess. Okay. Whatever. Again, I suppose if I read the game's instruction manual, which I don't have, then it would become clearer. Maybe if I used the hacked and cracked and trained copy of the game, it would be easier. Anyway, yeah, I'm cheating again with the map and filling the map. Let's load the old snapshot from the middle of the first level again. I'm intrigued by this map view here now at C800. If I rotate around, I think I'm in the bottom left of the map. That's the other map view as well, which doesn't seem to update at all. It seems to be quite static. This one seems to be different. It uses different characters, you can see, compared to the one at F000, was it? Just updating the debug notes to say that there are more map copies at C800 and F000 there. Let's fill that C800 map with 0, and then let's move around. Well, the corridor seems to have got very, very long in the 3D view, doesn't it? The monster seems to have escaped the boundaries of the map. The player character, wow, look, the view is very, very long. Actually, the view is quite screwed up on the left as well when it's rotating around. Look. Huh. So, I guess yeah, ooh, look at that, that's a bit wrong, isn't it? Okay, so a very, very long view doesn't seem to have the right animation frames for a very, very, very long view in the game. Okay, so let's restore from the snapshot again. Let's go back to that C800 map view there. Look, there's uninitialized memory behind the map view as well. The ats and the kind of like the checkerboard pattern in the background there. That's part of the default, power on state of the Commodore 64's RAM chips. I mean, each RAM chip has a slightly different power on state pattern, but generally speaking, Commodore 64s back in the day had a similar, non-cleared memory default state, if you like, when it powered on. So if I put my player character in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, right, where that 1 is, and then I rotate around. There's the ghost or monster or whatever it is flying off. I don't care about that. What I care about is that if let's use the edit functionality again to fill it with E. Okay, all the way to the end there. And if I rotate around, we get a long corridor view. Okay. That's looking north. That's looking east, right, from the bottom left-hand corner of the map. If I pick up the at, okay, it doesn't change the left-hand portion of the corridor view at all, and that's because, as discussed, even if the left-hand columns were blocked off, it's actually not visible in the 3D view because of these regularly spaced vertical columns. Right? The monster seems to have escaped the confines of the map again. I wonder why that is. Let's fill everything up above with J's. There's no update in the 3D view there. I'm moving along that very long corridor that I filled with E's earlier on. Okay, let's move back along the corridor to the west. Let's look north. Okay. So it seems that, is it at, the reversed at character is a solid wall, perhaps? Maybe, possibly. Yeah, the monster seems to be moving off the confines of the map there. Funny. Yeah, that's me cheating with the map display again. That was just to get the monster to spawn back inside the map. In the map view at C800, let's take the reverse at character and let's fill those two rows, and let's fill that row as well because I know that I'm in the bottom left hand corner of the map. So moving left and right, the screen doesn't update immediately, you see, and then filling the rest of the map with solid. Let's fill it all with solid and let's see what we get there. If I fill everything with solid, what looks like solid, there we go. I am now I don't have anything visible at all apart from no squares around me at all. That's funny. In the 3D view, when I was rotating around, I couldn't see beyond the wall immediately in front of me. Okay, so what shall we do? Let's take the reversed at character and then just put it in a solid row above me, so that's not from this view, that's looking north. From that view it would be the passages to the left, or the corridors to the left. There we go, look. Every single corridor, by the looks of it, to the left has a vertical wall in front of me, so that's the walls to the north. Okay, let's go back to the bottom left hand corner. Let's look, that's looking east, right? Yep, that's looking east. Let's change the length of the corridor by filling it with reversed ats. There we go. The wall has moved significantly towards us. Oh, that's useful to know. So this map at C800 is used for the 3D view rendering, but not for the character collision with the moving around the map ghost or whatever it is. Wow, look, I fill the whole row with E practically for a long point of time, and I get a very long corridor. Okay, well that's useful to know. So E is used for empty space in the map at C800, and what is it? Reverse at character is used for solid blocks. So if I fill the whole map with E now, basically I can look around the entire map until the confines of the edge of the map. Well, that's cool, isn't it? Maybe it's reverse characters meaning solid and non-reverse characters meaning empty space, or something special in the map, or something, maybe something that you can pick up. Let's see if we can understand a little bit more about the 3D game drawing routine. We'll fill the first screen with nothing, and we'll see how much. We'll fill it with FF because it seems to be a blank character. We'll see how much the game actually draws. Let's have a little look here. We'll put a watch point as well in the first few bytes of the first screen, and then we just need to force a draw. There we go. So it's starting to draw. I can see there a character in the top left hand corner. Okay, so there's the store indirect with 48, Y and hex there. That seems to, look at that, it's drawing a character from the top left hand corner in a column going down the screen. Oh look, it then draws the next column and the next column vertically down the screen. Well, isn't that great? I wonder which character set it's using. Well, it's probably using the 4000 character set, right? Because it's an axis aligned view. I don't know, the multicolors seem to be wrong. Maybe it updates the multicolors differently at a different point. No, we'll see anyway. Okay, well this is just the character map, graphics map, so, oh look. So it is drawing a diagonal line. Oh yes, of course, it's the next frame forward, isn't it? So it's not going to match what is actually on the Commodore 64's view. Right, yes, of course, it's drawing the next frame forward. There we go. Wow, that was really quite fast. The screen to the right is the other double buffer screen, of course. The score panel display area has been filled with the same character, so that's why the score panel looks a bit wrong. Of course, the screen was cleared, so it doesn't look like the score panel data is being restored when the game draws its 3D map view, which is perfectly fine. The characters for the score panel, the character set for the score panel is still there in memory, but the characters in the screen memory are not. This is the other double buffered screen now, so the screen at 5400. Let's see, well this one draws the same, look. A vertical strip down the left hand side. I think this is doing a rotation around, right, so it's going to be using the other character set. But yeah, we could see it's drawing a vertical columns down the left hand side. Then it seems to be drawing vertical columns from the right hand side to what is effectively the far point. And then the columns are then, oh look, it's drawing the right hand portion of the view now as it's rotating around. Okay, so that's rotating. There we go, and then the Commodore 64 displays the next frame that's being calculated. Okay. Alright, so it's only the left-hand portion of the corridor view, you see. Okay, so let's stick to the axis-aligned forward-facing view, and let's see what we get now. So it's going to be the first character set, which is a 4000, because we know that that one is always being used for the axis aligned view. Right, so there's the two double buffered screens there that are visible in the two different graphics map views. And we can see there that it is just, it is just drawing that end rectangle, if you like, just depending on how far you can view down the axis aligned view. That's funny. So yeah, it definitely looks like it's just some kind of like slightly optimized, you know, like an animation almost, if you like, that it's probably pulling from memory. Let's just see if we can find where it pulls that from memory by putting a watch point, and then we'll trace back through the view. Let's move those double buffered views that are nicely zoomed in the graphics debug map. Let's move those over to the right, and we'll bring up the disassembly view again with the registers. Look, E83B there, it looks like it's pulling data from a table. So we'll just put a breakpoint on that indirected store there, there we go, it's drawing in the top screen there, which is at 5000 in hex, the top graphics debug view there, we can see it is drawing the columns from the left to the right, and it's obliterating what was there before, of course, because it's creating the new frame. And then if we keep on single stepping, look, it's drawing it from the right hand edge now, column wise, vertical column wise, to the middle, right? There we go. I can see some green reads here going on in the memory view there. Those green reads are, oh look, the green reads are progressing as as the vertical columns are being drawn on the screen. And it's pulling it from that memory location there. So it seems to be a semi-compressed screen or something like that, maybe, or an animation frame. And it's just drawing the columns, and then there we go. It drew into the far distance, and then it just obliterated the end with how far the view was, the end cap, if you like, the rectangle at the end of the view was just plonked there in the middle after the left and right hand edges had been drawn as vertical columns. So it looks like a two-stage drawing process. The animation for the corridor view, and then the capping it off at the end with just a great big rectangle for however far you can draw off into the distance. So actually not a full 3D view, not even close to a full 3D view. It's basically it's like an optimized animated playback, if you like, almost, of regularly spaced columns, with just using an end cap, by the looks of it, of a rectangle which is just blatted onto the screen to truncate the distance for however far you can view down the axis aligned columns. So this game couldn't really do, with its current engine, the game cannot really do a Wolfenstein type of game, because a Wolfenstein type of game has irregularly shaped and open areas. So the rendering for this game would not cope with that at all, because the rendering is just basically almost like playing back an animation for a space filled with regularly spaced columns always. It doesn't look like it is capable of drawing anything else. Because if you remember, even when I filled that map at C800 with empty space, it was still drawing the regularly spaced 3D columns in the 3D view. Okay, so anyway, so that's this lovely little game from the way of, dim distant past, and I think that's all that I can find to look at in this game. So I think we'll leave this video here. If you like these kind of deep technical dives into old retro games, then please do consider liking or subscribing to my channel. And if you really like what I do, then a super thanks or a channel membership would be greatly appreciated. It really helps tell me what you really like to see. So thank you very much for watching. Take care. Have a great day or evening or night, wherever you are.